Good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spelling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We'll get to the JRC here in a moment, but first the disclaimers and the trigger warnings. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are going to be right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by Neuroclastic. The one where they surveyed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC so-called behavior modification program. And it did make JRC salty enough that they actually threatened Neuroclastic with a defamation lawsuit if they didn't remove the article from the website. So please, folks, read it and share it. As always, we have Autistic Koya's massive archive on all JRC linked in there as well. And we got Neuroclastic's GoFundMe in case the JRC ever does see through with their defamation lawsuit threat, because unlike them, unfortunately, we do not have access to unlimited sums of money. Alright, trigger warnings when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys. You're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to utilize the headphones. Also, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child's 16 and younger and they're watching this, parental supervision is very much advised. Alright, folks, back to where we left off. Alright, right here. So, we went to where they said they tried everything else and the judges have found it every case. May I remind people, judges go to law school. They do not go to medical school. Them judging on whether or not a consumer has tried every single other treatment program on God's green earth or not is extremely limited, to be kind. You know, this is not their field. How on earth would they know whether the student had tried every other program out there or not? They have to rely on somebody's word. And unfortunately for all of us, the word that they rely on is the JRC's word. And let's face it, the JRC's word is, they are less trustworthy than Lucifer himself. Yeah, I said it. Their word is worth squat. These judges are relying on them because they are supposed to be the experts. Because again, they went to law school, not medical school. And more often than not, and this is not me throwing shade at parents, this is me being blunt. A good majority of the parents out there don't know what other types of treatment programs they are. More often than not, you get the diagnosis, you take the recommendations of the doctors who provide said diagnosis, and you try to do your best from there. The parents are not experts. Yes, Ethan, the father, who is a physician. The term physician, provided with no context, does not impress me. Particularly since, and I've already stated this, every single primary care physician I have had, from age 18 when I was properly diagnosed, and then had two other teams take a look at me because I wanted to be sure. Literally from 18 years old to 40, I've had to explain and describe the treatment program I have been on, being an autistic, to every single last one of them. All of them. What that tells us is just because you're a doctor, it doesn't make you an expert in every single field in regards to medical care and especially mental health care. They do not specialize in individuals with developmental disabilities. They do not specialize in regards to autistics or people who have ADHD or literally any of us. Okay? That appeal to authority doesn't work on people like me, because I've been both a consumer as well as a person who has worked in the field. To try and use that as an appeal to authority while providing no context is absolutely ridiculous. Having MD after your name does not make you an expert in every single field of medicine or mental health care. Can we please start talking with some sanity? I know that's a tall order here considering we're speaking about the JRC, but for the love of God, just hear me out. We kind of took a left turn there, but it's pretty obvious what I'm getting at here, right? Judges go to law school, not medical school. Whether they agree with your insanity or not is completely and utterly irrelevant here. What is there not to get? What is there not to get? And you continue, but the judges say that it's safe. Don't make me tap the sign again. Okay? It's old and stupid and nonsensical. Okay? Those judges are more than likely don't even know what those other treatment programs options even are. They have to rely on the JRC, unfortunately, and nod and agree because they're supposed to be the experts. Their judgment on the matter is completely irrelevant. How stupid can you possibly be? Okay? Furthermore, the FDA has acknowledged that such a subpopulation does exist. Nobody says they do not exist, JRC. What we are saying is there are other ways to do things other than forcing human shock collars on people. We know this because it's been done every single other place on planet Earth successfully. It doesn't provide immediate results. no good treatment actually does. Not even medication. Okay? But good God. Do they exist? Yes. Is there a logical and coherent way to work together to create a program that would best help an individual who is more resistant to the mainstream programs currently available? Yes! I've been in the field, JRC. I've been pulled in to all kinds of different situations inside consumers' homes, inside group homes, inside parent living rooms, discussing this very subject, where everybody comes together to the table, we take a look at the situation, and we work together to customize a plan, cobbling different things from different programs that have been proven to work, and trying a few other things from different programs that might work better than just sticking to a singular plan verbatim. And wouldn't you know it, you do get a few try and fails. When you're doing something that customizable, there usually is. Within the first couple of months, I'd say about 2 to 3 months, while trying it out and getting things customized. But afterwards, slowly, over time, with great patience, wouldn't you know it, the behaviors begin to become less and less. The most vital thing in regards to those behaviors becoming less and less, to bring them down to that base point that I always talk about, is helping us learn and helping us be able to recognize what our triggers are before we get triggered into an actual behavior. Do you all have any idea how much I used to melt down as a child? Especially with what I was going through at the time. Learning the very things that triggered the worst of my behaviors was absolutely monumental and foundational into helping me begin to get those things under control. And when I would feel that control begin to slip, to be able to internalize and see if there's anything I could do to, not go into the behavior. Maybe I need an assisted device. Maybe I need to step off the computer and go sit in a room for an hour with nothing but me staring at the ceiling in silence. Maybe I need to just, go ahead and take out all the aggression on the kettlebells. Great workout, too. Nothing quite like rage and hitting the weights. I don't know what it is, but it's cathartic. But you see what I'm saying, right? Stop with nothing else will ever work. Stop with, well, you admit this subpopulation exists. Nobody's denying they exist. We are denying that your way is the only way. It isn't. Your way is not a way at all. It's just more abuse. And just because it's a direct care staff that does it, instead of me doing it to myself, does not mean that that magically makes it not abuse. You are hurting me against my consent. You're trying to coerce me into being something that I'm not. And if I don't do it to your satisfaction, you are using a device that if it was used back under the Bush administration in Guantanamo Bay, all hell would have broke loose. You know it, I know it, we all know it. Okay? Yet in none of these published, proposed, or final rules banning ESD treatment in 2016, 2020, and 2024 has the FDA proposed how these patients will be treated if the ban becomes a final rule, other than contradictorily saying that the patients may continue to receive treatment for another 6 months. Oh, for the love of God. Their job is to determine the safety of your device, whether the monumental risks are worth the 3-second stopping of behavior. Spoiler alert, the risks are far worse. That is their job. In regards to the different types of treatment and going back to the drawing board, that is not the FDA's job. That is the job of each individual's circle of support, which includes their parents, their doctors, and no, I do not mean under any circumstances any JRC personnel. I mean real objective doctors that work out in the medical field and interact with all the other providers in a sane manner. Doctors, including neurologists, psychiatrists, and psychologists. I've had all three as my main medical team makeup for decades now. See, working with them, taking the information from each of my full functional behavioral assessments and adjusting, changing things, bringing things in, taking away some other things as we go, while also cluing in people like my mom. And as I don't really need a case manager anymore through regional, through DMH, that's pretty much the circle. Me, my mom, because I like having her there, she notices things that I do not. Now, I don't have to have her in the office for appointments anymore, but I always have her included as someone to have access to information and sign that waiver just in case. Mainly, it's the neurologist, the psychiatrist, and the psychologist. These are the folks that help you make decisions in regards to treatment plans. That is not the FDA's responsibility. Your responsibility is to stop putting your students on human shock collars and calling it good. It's to do your job, or we will hopefully work together and get them a team, much like my own, that will actually do their jobs instead of using violence to control. Because at the end of the day, JRC, let's be honest here, what this is all really about. It's control. You want to control us. And for those of us who are more resistant and have a few more issues, you want to be able to legally use violence on us to force us to comply and force us to become something that we are never going to be. Because in fact, it's a fan-fictionalized version of neurotypicality that you want us to become. It doesn't exist anywhere in the real world. But you want us to match that impossible standard, and if you can't, then you want the ability to legally use violence to control us instead. That's what this is. You're not helping anyone but yourselves to $265,000 a year per student off of our pain and suffering. It really is it, and that's all. Let's finish here. Rather, the FDA simply alleges the ESD's proponents have not proven to FDA that the device is safe and effective, and that it's impossible to identify which patients are refractory. So you're still having a hissy fit because you can't prove your case. But you're only pushing the final rule because you don't see the value in what we're doing. Nobody sees the value in what you're doing. I despise our current president with the entirety of my soul. I don't think even his ass would be able know what I'm saying? Not even he could be able to make that make any form of sense. I don't think even he'd be on your side on that one. And he's shit insane. If I could say that, you all need to start thinking about where you went wrong in life. You can't prove your case. Throwing a temper tantrum like a toddler who's just been fed like 3 shots of espresso is not going to change anyone's opinion. It's not the FDA's fault. You can't make your case. Your device is not safe. You cannot prove that it is. There is far too much evidence that shows the contrary. They made a correct judgment. On that, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out for this one. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do tend to get removed from time to time. So, folks, please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time, and as always, folks, we here at Spelling Tea absolutely do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.